comments at a minute or less because I feel there's going to be a lot of people that have things to say. You can say whatever you want to say. Everyone up on here, the panel doesn't necessarily agree with everything that the people, or nor do we even know what people are going to say. But so you can ask your questions.
Quentin,
keep everything
I'm
respectful.
about to put another channel up.
Comments.
I'm going to clear this
line. And just make sure that as we do this, we point everything back towards solutions, and we point things back towards all of us coming back into growth. Because, and I'm going to get back to you, Jojo, you're going to be next again because you went into the Matrix, so you'll get like another minute to finish off what you have to say. But just make sure that as we speak, I always say this, there are no perfect messengers. The reason why I say that is because, look, however people feel about people is however people feel. I'm not one to really, like I said, this is all this shit is new to me. I very rarely even go into Twitter spaces. Only Twitter space I generally go in is the ones I create, and I do E's Twitter spaces because we generally talking about some education, some regular ass shit. It's hit me like a ton of goddamn bricks, but you know, I'm here. So at the same time, we got to make sure that we keep everything, solution oriented. Say what you have to say, and you will be able to say what you have to say without, but just keep it respectful. People don't attack anybody on the panel, because if somebody, I'm one of you right now, if anybody comes on stage attacking Eve, then at that point I use my comedic skills to attack your ass. But outside of that, you do what you got to do, and express what you have to say, and make sure we keep it all solution oriented. But go ahead, Joe.
What's going on? Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
All right, because I don't know if a minute gonna be enough for me, but I need to say this right here, man. Because I'm very, very upset with the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got people trying to stand in front of the way of these motherfuckers like Jason Black and Tariq ass. You know what I mean? Tariq doxed our sister 2 years ago, so this shit has been coming to happen. He doxed that sister Yaya by that suspected FBI informant, Sir Mazel, and then all this old shit been rolling down here ever since then, man. Our sisters have been getting put in situations where people can goddamn disparage them, man. Ain't nobody, one thing about this Jason Black dude, I'm gonna just say this right here, man, because you say the solution oriented, I'm gonna get to the solution, but I don't want to express the issue. This dude talking about talking about helping dude get women he's supposed to be, some kind of coach or whatever. I don't know what kind of shit he be having going on, man. But anybody got they follow behind the old simp ass nigga that get mad because a woman got married on his fuck ass don't want to be with her. You know what I mean? And then start exposing her something that was shared between them online as if she was some type of puppet. It's a sucker shit. That's a sucker move. And then the lame ass nigga in the audience or on the internet condoning that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you use a fuck nigga, man. Straight up, straight lane. You know what I mean? Any nigga trying to attack this sister all because of what somebody else had put out there, you a lame ass nigga, bro. Straight up, man. Niggas is some lame ass shit, man. This sister ain't did nothing but stood for our people. Just like the other two sisters that stood for our people. Lioness Cloud. They stood for our people. So anybody goddamn coming at these sisters on this bullshit, because they never put themselves out there like that. They can hold themselves respectable, man. Fuck all the motherfucking goddamn content creating ass motherfuckers that be on that confusing shit, goddamn. And I've been waiting for years to say this motherfucking shit, because my brother Ozone coming home regardless, right? So I've been really just biting my tongue, you feel me? Like, Charlotte got that goddamn death printed up out of him, and it's people like Just E jumping out there helping me, you know what I'm saying? Helping Ozone raise their funds, man. You got people in the room that got sacrifice and help our brother Ozone. So ain't no man. Fuck all that, man. We standing for the cause, man. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody perfect up in this motherfucker. Nobody's perfect. But at the end of the motherfucking day, when it comes to goddamn standing on business, man, let's keep it about that. You know what I mean? A man's supposed to be a leader. And all them niggas that be following behind this old bitch ass nigga, he's a bitch. Straight up. You know what I mean? Y'all niggas need to get the fuck away from me and stay ass inside or on Twitter or something. Cause y'all niggas ain't gonna be outside. I'm gonna land my plane, man.
I guess I should amend my statement with regards to the heroes. Black men who are saying things that they don't have to say in a time that matters. A time like this, I think that is a hero type of mentality or quality. So salute to the Black men who are speaking up for Black women. Yeah, look, sis, I feel like I already said I'm sorry for what happened, but if I didn't publicly, look, that cult shit is real. I'm not even gonna hold you. So when you feel like you're doing the right thing based off of people who are supposed to be doing the right thing, shit just starts getting cloudy. So on behalf of me, I can only speak for me, and well, yeah, that's what I try to do. I appreciate the work that you've done for the lineage. I've seen you outside, and that shit matters because our minis have gone to rallies with us, and at the reparations rally in DC, there were snipers and people on roofs, and y'all's heroes, or at least one of my heroes, right? Because I can be honest and accountable for how I was looking at people. That nigga wasn't there. Jason Black was not at the reparations rally in DC. I don't give a fuck what type of pictures y'all saw. That shit is fake. It's a deep fake. Not really. I mean, those are real pictures, but he wasn't there. And when I started to see the light, I guess, which really is, I started to listen to my man more, because society teaches us that we can do this shit by ourselves. So really, the programming is real on all these different sides. I'm taught that I can navigate this shit by myself, and that's not real. Lean on my man, and I start to see things a little bit clearer. The work that I've been doing and the lack of compensation for said work, the shit starts to not add up. I wasn't just saying the math ain't mathin' because it's catchy. That shit is all around me. The math was not mathin', so it's time to do something about it.
But I have a question for you, Eve.
Go ahead.
Because I know people gonna ask that. Were you like when all this went down? Like, were you married when all this stuff went down, or like? Because I saw you recently put a post. Not that it matters either way, but were you married? Like when y'all? Or did you ever meet him? Okay,
yeah, that's a good question. No, I was not married at the time. For what it's worth, I've been completely honest to a fault inside of my relationship, and that's none of y'all's business, right? Because I'm not that person. While I am transparent, right? I don't talk about a lot of shit because it's not for y'all. I know that that's kind of maybe hypocritical because I was working, quote unquote working. Can't work for some shit where you're not getting paid, so I feel like we need to change our vocabulary. But anyway, I was working on a channel that's talking about the opposite of what I just told you. I came to the realization that I needed to be doing, and when I started doing the things that made sense, other things started making sense. Have I met Jason Jeremy Smith Black? Yes, I have. I was working for him, quote unquote working, right? We got to stop saying working because I was not getting paid. All right, so I was doing things for his business that had nothing to do with his YouTube channel, and I met him. And yeah, I guess that answers that question. Y'all can do what you want with why he might have naked pictures of me, but at the end of the day, he tried to make me out as like some internet stalker, like we hadn't even met. And just the lies upon lies, compounded lies, the exposure, shit just...
And I have another question. Like, when did I start, like, I started seeing some of this shit, some posts on like Saturday or Sunday. When did all this shit, like, when did all this shit hit the head? Like when did all this come?
Right. Okay, so basically what happened was, at the end of our affair, right, whatever you want to call it, I wasn't getting paid for the work that I was doing. And he was asking me to do some impossible shit. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to start paying me because it's impossible. I have 5 kids. I have a mortgage. I got bills. Like, I don't know. And he was like, no. And as much as that hurt, because I've been working for this man for 3 years and talking to him like every day and just the shit just was really strange. But y'all can believe me or not, I was like, cool, fine, whatever. I'm not about to sit here and try to force nobody to be no daddy or husband or whatever. That's not what I want. We got a whole man here who is an excellent father, and clearly he's a good coach because he was able to steer me off a cliff that I was about to jump off of. From there, I posted on Facebook, we got married, and everybody kind of ran with it because I guess y'all have been rooting for us the whole time, and we hadn't actually gotten married yet, but just it was I don't know, symbolic, right? But I think that in addition to me telling him that I'm cool on all of everything that he's got going on, I think he just kind of flipped. And then from there, now we're here, and I thought he was smarter than that.
So yeah, this is, like I said, this is going. I was not ready for none of this shit. Yeah. My YouTube show I just finished talking about goddamn Fat Joe and Most Def calling Drake Pop. Yeah. So if anybody, I'm just asking, this is to clear my head up for a lot of the people that are listening. So as people talk, I want to make sure that I'm kind of right. So okay. So Eve, do you want to go?
I got something to add to the mix, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Judge. Yeah, please.
In dealing with law and life, sometimes to really understand things, you have to flip the script, take a look at things in another direction. We've been looking at Sexy Red, Lizzo, flaunt their nakedness, their lascivious harlot whole ways, and people are beginning to associate a beautiful, well, in Lizzo's case, not so beautiful body with a certain kind of conduct. But we forget everybody has one, and when you have a sister who's got a good mind, good heart, like Miss Eve, beautiful body too, nothing to be ashamed of. And as a matter of fact, what Mr. Black seems to have done is advertised his own shame. Hey man, you had it. You had it going on. Look what was with you. And now you don't have it because somebody else had it because you let yourself down. You did wrong. Now, beauty may be in the eye of the beholder, but there is a thing about objectification of beauty, and if humans hadn't objectified beauty, we'd still all be looking kind of like chimpanzees and gorillas. So the women pick the guys that look like they're good hunters, warriors, providers, and guys, the more they provide, the better off they are, the more choice they get. But the women, they pick the ones that match the standards of beauty. So here we are. We look like we are. We're a lot bigger than we used to be. I don't know about smarter, but we are where we are. We got from cave to condominium. So he blew it. And sister, you offer a great alternative to things, even though it was kind of weak. It was stuff that, I hate to say it, talk about your brother like that, but it's the kind of thing that girls do, not men. So I'll pass the mic.
I'm glad Judge said it because when I remember when I first got the news of this, and like everybody, my reaction was just, huh? Because like I respect the brother, I ain't got no issues with him. You know what I mean? I didn't to this point. It's just like I don't really get into people like that. It's like if you have some good information, I'm gonna listen to what you gotta say, and I'm gonna keep going. So this shit threw me for a motherfucking loop. Like yo, because I'm not into talking about people, but there are certain ideologies, there's certain things that are true. And like if I'm just on the streets with my homeboys and we talking and we in the joke circle and someone pull out their phone and just start showing pictures of another woman, we're gonna be looking at them like, Like, yeah, okay, cool, nice pictures, but like we gonna still look at you like, yo, why are you showing us this shit? Just I don't know. That's just how that's why I'm a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm disappointed. Honestly, I really am because just the way we operate that don't fall within the realm of kind of what we're kind of known to do. I know everyone else has their hands up, but today the panel is Dr. Short, Judge, and Eve. So as Judge and Dr. Short wants to speak, they're going to speak first, and then we'll get to people outside of that. Dr. Short has his hand up, so go ahead, Dr. Short.
First of all, again, thank you, Elder Judge Joe Brown, for coming because, a lot of us are younger and some of these things are new. Thank you for modeling manhood for us today. Thank you. Um, all of this is very hurtful to me. It's hurtful to me because hundreds of thousands of people, not one or two, are following what we do. There's a song they used to sing in church: be careful, little feet, where you go, and be careful, little person, what you do, for the Father up above, he's looking down with love. In this social media age, everybody can see our problems, our issues if we put it out there. When you put something into the cyber realm, you create a negative digital footprint that's almost impossible to erase. Do you follow what I'm saying? And therefore, you stain a person for forever. A person may have been angry for a day or an hour, but you make an act. And in a sense, it's almost like a digital murder or digital rape that a person has to carry. And we who are around here who deal with each other, we have to choose sides. In fact, there are people demanding that people pick one or the other. And it's now going to bring and breed more conflict and issues. And why did you stand? And right, that all kinds of folks are going to be pulled into what I consider a COINTEL counterpro, divide and rule, gang counter game issue. And this is something that's been done by the intelligence communities to undermine Black forward momentum, where there are persons, and we've had a history of this, of people who create literally personality cults around themselves, supposedly offering freedom, progress, a forward momentum, a change of our situation. And some of the private stuff is just unhinged and unnecessarily. So we've seen the Panthers, we've seen the Republic of New Africa, we've seen all kinds of situations and where people got hurt, people got killed, people got destroyed, and you have folks who, frankly, I'll tell y'all, I'll go see and get professional help or counseling if I have a problem. I will go talk to someone. I'm not afraid to say I'll talk to someone to sort stuff through. So that way, how I'm dealing with others and myself has a standard and a consistency wherein one can get along with other people. This internet stuff promotes a lot of antisocial, anti-man, anti-family, anti-Black, and if truth be told, operative behavior that one would expect from people who hate Black men and Black women and Black babies' guts. We've got to be above this. And if one doesn't show a standard of self-control, compassion, respect, and yes, leadership, when I talk to my brothers about, no matter what you hear me say about feminism, which I don't like, there's no man that can call me and show me anything about their personal stuff, especially their woman. I won't listen. I have good friends. I won't let you talk to me about the woman that you're with. Not because I don't care, but it's not my business. And if I'm correct, Judge, you correct me, one of the leading causes of murder in our community is men having a conflict over a woman when there's ass galore in our community. There's no shortage. There's not a shortage. Pardon my language. There's no pussy shortage, gentlemen. There's a manhood shortage. There's a decency shortage. There's a decorum shortage. There's a respect shortage. There's a love shortage. There is an integrity and dignity shortage, and an abundance of many of us looking to the wrong types of people. I want to say it. There's nothing more vile than a rapist, a pedophile, or a pimp. I think Judge will be with me on that. We need to, as men, put to death the pimp, the stud, the pedophile, the predator, the rape culture that some people have. And we also need to get rid of this obsession that certain people have, because in reality, they're either narcissists, malignant narcissists, or just your garden variety narcissists that need personality cults. You're talking about Black people, but it's really about the aggrandizement of your truncated, limp dick, castrated self. And it plays out in very ugly ways when people don't work out issues of whether I'm awkward to look at or if I've got a past I'm ashamed of, which is why I talk to folks, get with God, do something to change your soul. Even Martin Luther King said in order for the Negro to move forward, he needs a new soul. If we're going to get the things that we're supposed to have, we have to transform ourselves, just like folks came from out of the cotton fields and built new cities, towns, universities, farms, businesses. Our ancestors on whose shoulders we stand, they make us look like crap. But one thing they understood was you needed manhood, patriarchy. That we have a patriarchy deficit in our community, and there's no real substitute. I'm talking about virtuous patriarchy, the good father, the good provider, the good lover, the good protector, right? That has to be part of our forward momentum, that we become the men that we have not always been allowed by society. But damn it, we don't do things because they're easy when you're fighting for freedom. When you're a man, you overcome them because they're difficult. That's part of what you can say. I accomplished something. I did something. I did something for God. I did something for my people. I did something for my women. I did something for the posterity of my people. If you aren't focused that way, you are an enemy of your people, no matter how many people follow you. Hitler had a following. Mussolini had a following. Pol Pot had a following. A lot of people have had followings. But their morality, their GPS, was maybe their limp dick or their ego, or there's something about them that they never worked out. And it causes them to do things to hurt very positive people. In social sciences, it's called when the revolution consumes itself. When people who are supposedly working towards a good cause, they get to a point and then they begin to destroy everybody around them. And have we seen this? Yes. Yahweh ben Yahweh. We saw it with Malcolm X's assassination. We saw it with what happened to Khalid Muhammad, whose birthday was last week. We have certain people that are psychopathic and sociopathic. And I want to say to everybody that's in any kind of movement, and that starts with me, if you see me doing something that is that is off, that's mentally off, get the hell away from me. Don't follow wolves and sheep's clothing. again, there are people who serve the people, and there are people that serve themselves. Okay? There are people who want to be big because in reality they're small. And there are people who become great because of the greatness of what they contribute to their people, to the protection and the advancement of their women and children. That's greatness. A lot of people are as small as the screens that they broadcast from. I'll land here.
Yeah, and please say around Dr. Short. Yeah, I want to go back on something you said, Dr. Short. I'm gonna get to the speaker real quick. Again, everyone up here speaks for themselves. But I wanted to say one thing, and I'll get back to you, right to you, Judge. The biggest thing for me that's throwing it off is the split, like you said. I want to get off that point. We people who follow people who listen to people and personalities, you don't have to participate in any splits. If you and I have common cause that we're going for, we don't have to like each other. We don't have to agree with things. But if we all want to see our people get to another level, we can sit that stuff to the side, and we don't have to split over ideologies over because I like this person, you like that person. If that's your choice, that's fine. But for those of you out there who don't feel right about something like that, you want to know where I stand? I stand on the side of the right for the people, whatever people being themselves and people following along and helping the greater cause, and that's who I stand with. So it's not about who this person versus that person. For me, it's about when you see somebody who has the microphone and the ideology that they want people following. If they do something that in your normal code of ethics is outside of that, you got to be able to call it for what it is and still get about and moving forward. That's the way I see it. But go ahead, Judge.
One thing. What is the man's motive? Is he trying to get back at Miss Eve out of pain for his loss, or was he bragging? See, if somebody offered something as a boast, okay, fine. But if somebody's trying to pursue a motive of retaliation because they lost, that's just not the way it's done. What did the English say? I said, fellow, it's just not cricket, it's just not done that way. It's off man code. Now, we've got a situation comparable to that here in this Memphis area. There is a certain Miss Tawana Murphy who has a show she does for one of the stations around here. And when she first got here, she took up with a character named Thaddeus Matthews. Thaddeus Matthews posted her pictures all over the net that he took when they were intimate with each other. Thaddeus Matthews has, according to certain allegations, been a snitch who masquerades as a mild-mannered investigative reporter for this TV show he does, off-the-cuff TV show. When you get into who finances it, you find out the previous district attorney financed it, sheriff financed it, and all of the usual suspects. So that leads to allegations that he is a snitch. He also had done some time and got involved in allegations and formal charges of child pornography. Purportedly because of his connections for being a snitch for the DA's office. They let him off while he was already potentially, or shall we say allegedly, on parole for other felonies. They let him off with 5 years suspended sentence. Some alleged that when he was doing time, he got to liking certain things that got done to him. So he has a problem he's apparently had for life for women. He's about 5 feet 6 or 7, weighs about 400 pounds. So he's not in good physical shape. And Miss Murphy punched him in the jaw and knocked him out one time, which is, and that was in retaliation for putting up pictures out on the line. Now, Miss Eve, I wouldn't suggest you do that, but she did, and he promptly rushed to his car to display the horrible bruises from this horrible woman who knocked him out literally. Now, that's a real punk move. And you see, it's all about motive. Now, Beyonce puts out an occasional risque picture. So does J-Lo. A whole lot of people have. Cher used to do it all the time. And, you know, you get this, that, and the other going. But if she gets somebody putting her pictures out, she's already got it out that way. Woman goes out to a nudist resort. People take pictures of her because she's beautiful. She doesn't care if you put them online. You might get a job out of it. Hollywood might call you, no telling. But on the other hand, when somebody pulls off what looks to be a punk play, saying, I'm going to hurt this woman and try and show her new man that I was there, otherwise I wouldn't have these pictures if I hadn't been there. You try to hurt her, but see, that's just not the way things are done. In a man way, you just move on to the next situation, plus you cut yourself off. The next woman might be considering what to do with you. You're going to think about that and say, oh, no. So one of the things men have to do is tailor their behavior so you minimize the negative consequences. And if you don't get that, watch the John Wick franchise. They say people have rules. That's what separates them from the animal. And there are consequences to everything you do. What you do, you should first assess on whether you're willing to pay the consequences. Now, what it looks like he did, I won't give legal advice, but I think it may violate some state and federal laws. So put yourself out there where you offend some powers that be. Well, you may have a problem. You may have Fanny down in Georgia who gets paid $120,000, $130,000 a year. She pays the boyfriend $690-some thousand, $650-some thousand to handle one case. The President of the United States doesn't make but $480. The Vice President $320. The Attorney General doesn't make that. But you're paying somebody that you're having the taxpayers pay for your vacation time on. You know, what time is it? So you have to be careful what you do when you start holding yourself out as being righteous like Miss Fanny does as a prosecutor, and then she winds up getting on air at a black church saying black women are, we do our thing, you have to excuse us. Did you say that to the last person you prosecuted? Hell no. That's ethics. And ethics ain't got a damn thing to do with black and white. That's everybody. Because you got your boyfriend paid between $650,000 to $695,000 for one case, and the Attorney General of the United States doesn't make half that much. And he handles all of the legal affairs for the country. The man you went after didn't make that much as a salary for being President of the United States. So, somebody's saying, is she paying for her debt or what? Is this dude a boy toy or what? Awful expensive one. Hope is good because she's got some ethical questions to answer. But you see, there are consequences to what we do. And Jason Black, like Fanny, is holding himself out like she held herself out, is trying to deal with what's right for some people. In her case, the state of Georgia. In his case, black folk. And it ain't upholding. So you let yourself down, you let your side down, and that's off man code. So I think one of the topics I got told about that we were supposed to be talking about wasn't reparations, it was the color purple and its impact on black manhood, or manhood across the board. And this just dovetails in with it. It's an exemplar of way hell off code. Now, I pass the mic.
think, Judge, to the people who have their hands up, y'all's patience is noted and appreciated. Immortal, go ahead. You have the mic.
All right, I appreciate it. Greetings to everyone in the room. Greetings to the host, co-host. Always good to hear the Honorable Judge Joe Brown. I want to congratulate you for your courage to come out and tell your story and give your input, because it's hard to do when women are being mistreated. It's really hard for women to come out and tell their stories. We got so many people who automatically start throwing rocks at the woman and don't even ask questions about what's going on with these men. I appreciate what Dwan B said when he said, because I was so thinking that when he said, that ain't kind of something that we do as a culture. Like, you're not just gonna walk up, even if the ancestor said, talk about yourself. So I'm gonna do that so I don't get in trouble. I fell in love with a married woman. I was 25 or 24, somewhere in there. And oh man, fell in love with her. She was separated. I figured I could turn that into a full-time thing for her, that separation. Well, time went on, and short amount of time went on, and she wanted to reconcile with her husband. She wanted to try it again with her husband. She let me down easy, but I was determined, always been kind of like proactive. So it didn't get bad, but her husband did tell me, man, say, look, man, I understand your mind probably is blown, but so is mine, and she's my wife, and we're going to try to reconcile. So I appreciate it if you just leave her alone and let us do that. And I did that. And you know what else I didn't do? All the text messages I had from her, all the pictures that got sent, all the places and times and places that we was, that never came. I never spoke on that. Ever spoke on that. No matter how much my feelings was hurt. No matter how much I felt like I had been led on, I had to man up. And I didn't love women in my life, and it's most of the time it turned out good, and sometimes it didn't turn out good. But no matter what happened, I never took the intimacy that they shared with me and tried to use it as something to harm them with, because I'm not no bitch ass nigga. That's why I love looking in the mirror at myself. I got the respect of her mother, her father, her sisters, her brothers. I got all the respect. I got the respect of her husband. I got all the respect of all these motherfuckers, because I ain't no dirty ass nigga. I love who I am, and that's why I can look in the fucking mirror and be glad. And I always tell people, I grew up to be the man I wanted to be. Hurt my feelings. Some of these women hurt my feelings, take my money. I ain't even talking about somebody like Eve who helped do something you said you wanted to do, helps you do what you wanted to do, helps you get your message out, helps you. I'm just talking about the ones, I ain't even talking about them ones. I'm talking about the ones, even that try to throw dirt on your name. Sometimes I was the one doing the rejecting. And that hurt them. And now they wouldn't want to say things about me. I never took anything, personal information, letters, pictures, anything like that they gave to me, and use it, because I'm not a fuck nigga. So I'm gonna land it with this too. And shout out to the DOC. And I ain't mad. I don't hate nobody. I'm just telling you like it is. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone, but I'm just telling you like it is. These women you meet out here, I don't care what you think about them yourself. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's mother. That's somebody's sister. That's somebody's auntie. And some of us nephews, sons, fathers, brothers, we will come see you about mistreating ours. It's not a threat to anyone. I'm just doing a warning. Like, don't do that. That's why we have laws. Don't do it.
But we want to get on to the next speakers, man. Thank you.
That's cool, but shout out to the DOC, because the DOC was very gracious when he had something to say about what this particular guy had to say about his family and how he was treating his family. So shout out to the DOC. I appreciate y'all letting me speak.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, Lou, that was a good one. Moving forward, everyone, make sure you keep your comments under a minute. When you get to repeating yourself, I'm going to jump in. So, because I want to get to everybody, because Judge and Dr. will have extended comments, so I do want to get to everybody. But no, I appreciate that, Immortal. Yeah, you're right about that. You know, I'm not here to throw shots at nobody. I ain't here. I'm not about to get in a mud-seeing contest nobody. But to the young men out there, let me just say something real quick to the young men out there. And this is coming from a married man. Being married this coming May will be 10 years. Dated my wife for 9 years before I got married to her. And during my single years, had a lot of fun in the city of LA. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, you never kiss and tell. You don't kiss and tell. I don't care if your heart gets broken. And this is just in general. This isn't about anyone. This is just a general way to live life as a man. You don't kiss and tell. You have respect. Whatever woman you deal with, you come into the situation with respect. You leave it with respect. You know, because that's why a lot of these stories coming out. When you lose respect, you know, that's where the things start happening. You come into respect. You leave with respect. And you don't post text messages. You don't screenshot emails and pictures of private. Leave all that stuff out of it, fellas. All right, I hope that's one of the lessons we get from today.
Please leave that out. That is off man code. I'll give you guys a secret too. A little clue. I've been in law for literally more than a half century, and in that time period, when I counseled couples that were considering divorce, I learned one truth. Invariably, the one that is most strident in accusing the other one of running around is actually the one that's doing that. So there's on code, off code, and do not kiss, do not tell. That you never, ever, no how, no way do. Keep your mouth shut. And don't confess. Nobody wants your confession. They'd rather hear your denial because it's reassuring. So anyway, that's it.
Actually, that's a really good point before we get to ODB. Don't kiss and tell. Look, a lot of y'all keep saying, I didn't know you had a situation going on with Jason, but why didn't you know? Because I don't fucking run my mouth. Like, the only person who needed to know what was going on with me is the man that I sleep with. I was about to be very vulgar. So just throwing that out there. Like, the only reason y'all know about this right now is because he posted my pictures. Like, I'm still very...
Bring up that point. Like I said, we do our Twitter spaces, but outside our Twitter spaces, you know, but we follow each other on Facebook and Twitter. Part of the reason why I was thrown off is because I didn't see you post anything. I had no clue. Last I checked, y'all was cool. Like, you was I don't, and that's what threw me off. You didn't, I didn't see you say anything. I didn't know.
Let's get to ODB. I feel like he might have something to say about me not saying something. Go ahead, ODB.
Oh, yeah, you are. I mean, I had said so. Well, shout out to you. You know, your husband came, like you said, and defended your honor over in the space. And hopefully you guys don't take that the wrong way. When I'm blowing the whistle, I am a former military police officer, bro. I'm about safety. You feel me? And I think, at the end of the day, you was engaging in some things that might have not been safe and putting the whole community in danger. You feel me? So I have one question for you. How long have you known Jeremy Smith? When is the first time that you've seen him? When was the first time? Because apparently 2 years ago, this picture, his mugshot, has been floating around with the fact that he beat a woman with a weight bar. You see what I'm saying? How long have you known this person to be who he is?
I met Jeremy Smith in October of last year. And for what it's worth, while I had seen the picture, I wasn't really putting two to two together because he is bald now and he has gained some weight. And I guess if I had really been thinking that was him the whole time, I might have made the connection. But I made the connection the last time I saw him, when I saw his name on his credit card, the shit said Jeremy, and everything was like, whoa, oh shit. Let me look this shit up again. And then, I don't know, a lot of things stopped making sense, and I couldn't ignore it. And for what it's worth, this isn't anything foreign to what my dude knew what was going on, because I had been not working, because I wasn't getting paid. Like, that was the thing. Go ahead.
I'm not, like I said, that man is a grown man. I respect him. Like I said in my space, I'm really not here to inquire about you or your relationship. But I know this to be a lineal thing that we're doing. You feel me? And I noticed, like Judge been saying, it's a thing about accountability. And people have been throwing a lot of different words around. I think what happened to you is atrocious in nature, egregious in nature, unacceptable from any man in our community. You know what I mean? You got to understand what it does to your credibility and what it looks like when you say there's been a video flyer floating around for this man 2 years. You know what I mean? You say you've known the man for a year, and that it seems like it comes off very self-serving. You know what I mean? It comes off very self-serving.
Look, I can see that, but the self-serving aspect, I guess what y'all are missing is what I don't publicize. Y'all don't know a lot of stuff that I do because I don't publicize it. And the things that I were doing with regards to his work and his documentaries and that sort of thing, y'all didn't know that stuff because I didn't publicize that stuff. I think if you had, there would be more questions about, am I getting paid? I don't know if y'all know, but that's a whole running thing right now with mods who are not getting paid and having to quit the mod business. But if you're not getting paid, is it a business? I don't know. I'm having some real conflicts with the words that we're using for the work that's being done. And if we're all supposed to be volunteering, then I guess that should be made known. But that was not made known. And since it wasn't made known that this was just this whole big volunteer opportunity, the work that I was doing, I should be paid for that. And it's not work for Black empowerment. That's not it. If I'm bringing in real money to your business, I should get paid for that work. There's a lot of things that will probably come out from all of this.
Real quick, Eve. So, was your issue over modding, or was it work outside of modding? That's where I'm confused.
It's all intertwined because, if anybody listened to any of his most recent programs, he's saying that I was a disgruntled mod. And mods, for anybody who doesn't know, that's just a person on YouTube who's working a chat. I think that if a person's having a 3-hour broadcast and they got specific rules and shit, and then you get cussed out if you don't follow the rule, you should probably get paid for that. But I wasn't necessarily pushing for pay there. I was pushing for pay on the actual outside world things that I were doing, being introduced to people as executive producer on projects and shit like that. So
you were talking about more so for if it's a film or something. That's where you were concerned, because if people hear just mod from the chat room, they're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" So you saying it was like a film or something else that you were working on?
Right, I was working on what his most recent documentary that hasn't come out yet.
Okay, now it's making sense to me. Okay.
I met him because we were working on the documentary, and like ODB said, we were not necessarily engaged in an appropriate relationship, but that's my private life. Y'all are putting me on some weird-ass pedestal or stake. I'm not quite sure.
Can I say this respectfully? I've been waiting my turn for a long time.
I'm going to let you speak. Speak. Just give me a second. All I'm saying is that when it comes down to who he is, I'm a person, ODB, who can look at a person's past and then use what they're doing every day to say if this is the person who is that person or is not that person. And I'd never seen any abuse, so I just kind of wrote it off until, like I just told you, the math stopped mathing for a lot of stuff. And that's just me. Self-serving, like you just said. I wasn't thinking about anything more than what I just told you, which is I've been working on things and trying to get compensated for the work that I've been doing. In addition to all of the other things that y'all know that I do, things that I do publicize, reparations task force meetings, rallies, teaching at a Black school, having foundational Black American Sunday school. So go ahead. Go ahead, ODB.
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. At the end of the day, so this is the point I want to make clear. I don't think anybody is putting you on a pedestal, but there has to be a level of accountability, even when it comes to our women that are in this quote-unquote movement with us. You feel me? At the end of the day, I heard you come up with a lot of good ideas. You came up with an idea about a daycare. You feel me? How would I entrust one just me with the most precious thing in my life, my daughter? You feel me? When I feel like looking out the situation outside in, she not only does not have the wherewithal to establish like this is a criminal that I've had a picture with and I've been with this guy and I only apparently you only made the connection for the math to stop mathing when you figured out you weren't getting paid, which I'm a contractor for a business contractor. I do terms and agreements for my payment prior to my work. That's just how it goes. Anything else can be subject to what you accept as payment. Now, if you're accepting social currency as payment, that's what you and the people in y'all community that are mods, you need to make a modders union and establish the fact that y'all need terms and agreements for these people that y'all are dealing with. Let's put it back on track. I want to make sure that was clear. She wasn't like every 5 seconds. I really try to. She wasn't talking about things that are all modding. Really hold on, brother. Hold on. Stop the bullshit. I'm just trying to keep everything on track. You get to speak. I did say niggas only get 1 minute. You've been talking for 2, so chill. But I was just trying to get it back online because I was confused with that too. She was not talking about getting paid for modding. She was talking about getting paid for a film that she was working on. And so I just want to make sure that part was clear. That's all I want to do. Well, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. But yeah, whatever you do that is if you consider yourself a for-profit entity, you should establish terms and conditions. Thanks for the correction. You feel me? But what I am saying is you have these plans, these grandiose ideas, which I think they were great ideas, establishing daycares, teaching centers for these Black kids. You guys as the, coming from this community, as people that, how can you do that when you say, for a year and a half, I dated this criminal that beat a woman, and first and foremost, let me start with this. Faceless leaders need to stop, bro. No faceless leaders, bro. Point blank period for no grown men.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah. Sure. For the Batman. We don't do the Batman. But at the end of the day, so you're saying we are supposed to believe for a year and a half you're around this man.
No, what I'm saying, ODB, is, and I'm gonna let you go because I understand where you're coming from, and I can only tell you the truth. Like, he even says, listen to both sides of the story, and it's funny because he always only listened to my side of the story. He never wanted to talk to my man, even though the opportunity arose a few different times, but I guess that's another conversation for a different day. I met him in October, and I reaffirmed what I thought, at least with regards to, look, I need to get paid for this stuff. What's up? All of that happened
October 2022 or October 2023? Just make it clear.
October 2023.
So 3 months ago.
Correct.
Okay.
So, again, after it was established that I was not going to be paid and all of the other stuff that I just told you, the timing of all of it, sure, coincidental or whatever, that's just what happened. And since I'm not going to belabor the issue, you can feel how you want to feel, but that is what happened. And to a big point, he was trying to act like he hadn't even met me, and I think that is crazy. But Kenny, I see your hand is up. Go ahead, sis.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy MLK Day. Thank you to the speakers for hosting this space. And I just want to say, Eve, I admire you being so courageous and coming forth and dealing with this. A lot of people, it could have, just said, you know what, I'm going to stick my head in the sand. This is really embarrassing. I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to go somewhere and hide and hope for things to blow off. But you said, you know what? There's work that needs to be done. I'm not perfect. Nobody in this movement is perfect. And I'm really proud of you. And I'm really proud of your husband. I know that you're a good mom. You do your best as far as working for the movement to uplift sisterhood. And like I said, nobody's perfect. But you all are standing together as a unified front. And especially now, I think you said you have 5 kids, right? And you're a great mother, right? You have 5 children that you love. You have 5 children that man loves with you. And in this day, there are so many people disparaging single moms and saying, oh, you're worthless. Oh, you're this. Nobody's going to want you. You have someone that wants you, who loves you, and who wants to protect you. So if you have that and you're able to have someone to commit to you, to me, it's just, I don't understand why anyone would want to stand in the way of your children being protected and you have someone to love, especially being that we're so quote unquote worthless. And again, I'll say I'm very proud of you and I want the best for you and your family. And like I said, no one is perfect, but I hope that this will inspire family and Black love to fight through whatever.
And that's dope, Kenny. I appreciate that. And
I'll drop down.
Definitely. I appreciate that, Kenny. But yeah, because with this, let's go ahead, Judge. Go ahead.
I just got a text. Everybody ain't on our side. It says, Joe Brown, you misogynistic pig. What makes you have the ego problem of thinking this woman needs your help or any of your sympathy? You men are all horrible. She can handle her own thing like any woman can. You men are sitting up there trying to fool your damn selves and thinking that you can do something to help men and it's got anything to do with what a man does. That was what I just got. So anyway, I thought I would share that.
Pork chop
that's
feminism.
Funny right there. That's funny right there. I'm gonna get to you, Dr. Short. I just want to say something real quick. To 2 points that was just made. The first point being, the guy earlier asked, how can I trust my children with someone who's going to start a school and yada, yada, yada. It seems like cats only play those kind of mental gymnastics when it comes to Black people and when it comes to what we have going on. Look, man, when it comes down to it, people are going to be people. No one is getting paid for Black empowerment. As a matter of fact, Black empowerment takes money out of our pockets.
Actually, Dwan, let me cut you off. I'm sorry. Yeah. I wasn't even going to do this. ODB, it's not a daycare. Foundational Black American Sunday School is an online community of sorts where students and parents can join the conversation with regards to who we are and what we're owed. Like, to any parent who doesn't trust me, I would say that you should absolutely join the damn class and see what all is going on. I'm very transparent with regards to what is taught and how I speak to these children. And it's not a building. I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll get there. But with people like Jeremy telling people to not rock with me, and literally people that I have established relationships with their children, they're just gone because they've unenrolled from my class. Like, that shit was wild. Because at the end of the day, what have I said that disparages the movement? I haven't done anything that would disparage the movement. Because, again, what I do privately is what I do privately. Like, we're always going to probably butt heads about private shit because it's not for public consumption, but we are in a space where people talk about that shit publicly. So when my nudes got posted publicly, it seems like more than the right time to talk about a lot of this shit. So the timing it's wild. But I think that I've listened to the quote-unquote new Black media, and even if you listen to them, once you start applying some of the shit, again, what I did, ask for my tangibles, and then I found out that there are no tangibles. Well, damn, what am I supposed to do from there? So regroup or whatever. I didn't blow up any spot. I didn't go to the internet and, again, like you probably would have wanted me to, like, I guess this is what you're saying. You wanted me to be like, this nigga is this nigga and whatever, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm gauging, this is me. I'm gauging what I've learned. And from there, this is how I've moved. Go ahead, Judge.
Oh, you're doing it well. I finished. It was just, I thought I'd share that. See, the driving engine behind what seems to have been happening to you comes from both sides, because there is a move afoot in this country that's not healthy. It's a destruction of masculinity, and there are inadequate males that want to destroy that, and threatened females who want to destroy it. And basically, they're motivated by self-hate because they don't like what they are. I remember I was in my 20s when it came out, I'm black and I'm proud. And these people are not proud. They're deeply ashamed. They want to change their gender. They want to dress like something else. They don't want to be what they are. And it's male and female. So we have to understand that it's some people that just have no purpose, no cause. And we get back to our original premise. There are no heroes these days. So maybe we need to develop some, and maybe we need to encourage both male and female to show duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, accountability, moral and physical courage and bravery to dedicate themselves to establishing principle and purpose in making where they live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity. Now, that's what we need to do. So I think we can get on that. I believe we're all talking about the same thing, but I think the conversation needs to go right now to what do we do when we encounter somebody like this who gets off coke? Are they to be put on parole, probation, given another chance, or do the mammy-fammy thing we're saying a black woman's entitled to make mistakes? Okay, why'd she even put it as black woman instead of just saying a person is entitled to make mistakes? Do you feel somehow empowered to have special privilege and entitlement? Maybe we need to get back to thinking about it's not what you want and wish for, it's what you earn and you keep. So maybe we need to focus on these kind of things and say, hey, Sister Eve, you're doing great things. Thank you for your work with the kids. Thank you for the work with the community. Thank you for being inspirational. Thank you for volunteering to help your brother do what you thought was getting the word out to the black community and the country about things that need to be done. And what are we going to do to make sure that this kind of thing is not bypassed and there are consequences? So what are we going to do?
Can I answer that? One second, Raheem. I was going to real quick on that point because I'm going to get Linus. But Judge, going back to what you said about what's the answer, what can we do? It's all about staying focused on the mission and about moving forward. And to go back to what you said earlier about the lady that was mad at you for being up here on the panel, 3 men speaking up for a woman. What we hear all the time is black men don't protect black women, and all that stuff and all that nonsense, which we know is a lie. Fact is, the lady out there, if she's still listening, I'm pretty sure you are. Eve and I, we do at least a once a week discussion, and we talk about topics. This topic came out of nowhere. This face with Dr. Short, Judge, me, and Eve was already said a week ago. We just were waiting on a day and a time. So this was already going to happen. But one thing about me is, and I can speak to myself, but I know Dr. Short feels the same way. You get thrown a curveball, something you weren't expecting. And from me, from someone who I, listen to and I respect, from his broadcast, you get thrown a curveball. You don't back down because the block just got hot and because things are tough, because things seem weird, and back away because, hey, I don't know if I'm going to start something with you, I'm going to finish it with you, especially if I see a behavior that by someone who, other than up until that moment, I had nothing but love and respect for. You know what I mean? I absolutely nothing but love and respect for. But that behavior was something outside of the characteristics of something my personal code of honor deems as acceptable. You don't back down. You address it. and you be mature enough to keep about the mission and getting things done and moving forward without getting hung up on the personal or getting in some group fight. So I'm telling you right now, for people listening and you silent listeners out there, I ain't about to get in one of these hashtag fights with you niggas. You know, that's how we move forward. No goddamn hashtag fights. How about that? Let's let the shit play out. Let's let the rest of us get about the business of completing shit.
All right, can I say something real quick? How everybody doing?
Actually, Raheem, I think Linus came up before you.
Yeah, Linus was first.
I did, but I would like to defer to the brother because I think he wanted to follow up on the manhood stuff. That's okay.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Eve, I sent you a text and you replied to that. I told you I support you, and sometimes when you support a person, you don't have to do it publicly, right? And I wasn't until I got on this broadcast and I heard some of the things people were saying. First, let me say this, right? You stated your position. You said enough. You told us things that you didn't even have to share with us. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being transparent, right? But a lot of these questions y'all asking the sister is to be nosy. You know what I mean? Let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, how many times she got to explain herself? She is not on trial. You know what I mean? So, for me, you know what I mean? Judge Joe Brown asked the question, how do we move forward from here? We take this as a lesson to be learned, right? Any man that doesn't show who he is publicly, his face, shouldn't be in a leadership position. And not only that, if you're not able to control your sexual desires, you ain't fit to lead in the first fucking place. So let's start there. You know what I mean? And we have to, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, because the longer I be on here, the more I'm going to say, and there's certain things I just don't want to say because I'm in a certain frequency right now. But listen, we have to draw the line. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Certain things, Judge Joe Brown said probation and different things like that. You can give a person grace. But this right here, you don't get no grace for this. You know what I mean? This right here is the utmost disrespect, and it should be handled accordingly. As for me, you know what I mean, and others, when you see stuff like this, you don't rock with them. You don't give them no grace. Like, they don't even exist no more. And that's my particular stance. And peace to the room, peace to everybody that's in here.
Peace, bro. And it's good to hear. I appreciate. Honestly, bro, I appreciate you because stepping up. Because I'm like you, bro. I ain't trying to get no fucking internet beat controversy nonsense, man. It's too much real shit going on out here. But that bothered me, man. Like, she can't do that. Like, anything short of that, I'm gonna be saying shit. You can't do that. But go ahead, Linus.
I see Dr. Short has his hand up. Dr. Short.
Oh, go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah, bless you, cuz I want to just bring up when this warrior brother here, Brother Raheem, stood up to a man that had violated our sisters down in Georgia. How certain folks couldn't give any attention when people trying to put him in jail and destroy him. He was a man standing in this square, standing on principle, protecting Black women. And God damn it, he was by himself by people who could have done more. I've seen more stuff around these naked pictures and all this other trash than when our brother could have been destroyed, standing up for our sisters. If folk want to talk about Black women and dignity and protection, and this sister's a wazi, that's my word, Judge Joe Brown, for the warrior sisters like her and Jade. They're Black women that'll take a bullet for the man, for the children, for our people. This brother stood in the gap, Brother Raheem, and we had to go begging. And I've seen numerous instances when people were doing the right thing, and these people who had the ability to nationalize and put this out where folks could come behind people on the ground doing the right thing. And there were bigger crickets than the one with Pinocchio from Walt Disney. And I'm not understanding why when there are people who've shown character, dignity, manhood, Judge Joe Brown, if you don't know Brother Raheem, there are people standing up doing the right thing that don't take any shit being done to black women. And then when the system and these snitches and backstabbers and ops come for this person, they're alone. I call this fagonism. We have some weak, sellout, traitor, bitchified guys, and sometimes gals, pork chops, who never coalesce or come behind. Those who are doing the right thing, including the little nasty troll that wrote you. Please block me if you're out there. I don't want to know you. But this brother did the right thing, and there was no help. In this instance, nobody was asking for money per se. This was a person where the state had been manipulated to destroy someone that's proven that they care, that they've sown into our people. And the same way that folk would like to hang the sister out to dry and ask more questions than 50 seasons of Perry Mason, that's ridiculous. Let me just stop. I'm going to get mad. Let me shut up. I'm a land. Damn.
Go ahead, Linus.
Thank you, Dr. Short. Peace to the room, Sister Eve, Brother Dwan, Judge Joe Brown, and my dear brother, Raheem. Two things. One, Eve, your courage is commendable. I really appreciate you, and I love you. Anytime you need support, a listening ear, or just a thought partner to organize on the work that you're actually doing in real life, you can always hit me up. And I've made good on that promise. There are a lot of men in our community that will say that they protect Black women, but when given opportunities to demonstrate as such, they cower or they feign ignorance or they do something different. And so there are Black men in this space who have stood by me and stood for me that I'm really appreciative of. Raheem, Immortal, Dr. Short, and others. If I don't say your name, you know who you are. I had an incident that happened last year where I was harmed, legit harmed, and did what I was taught to do, which is to go to men to say, hey, this happened to me, you need to check this person. And that actually didn't happen. So, people will say one thing, they'll act, like they're cool or that they protect Black women, but in real life, they actually don't. And so, it's sad for us to have to learn the hard way for those of us who are actually serious about this work. But the reward for good work is more work. That's how my elders taught me. That's what I learned. And so the work continues. We just separate ourselves from that. So I really came up because I did spam the Jumbotron. And in a way to answer Judge Joe Brown's question, he says, where do we go from here? How do we move forward from incidences like this? How can we use this as a learning opportunity or teaching opportunity? And so for me, it's just like literally doing your own research. When we have a person, an individual who's faceless and nameless, who hides behind an avatar of Eldridge Cleaver, right? Failed Black Panther, failed civil rights leader. He was exiled from the United States, came back, he made penis pants, and did all of this crazy, foolish, nasty stuff. Y'all can see it in the Jumbotron. And who had a philosophy when he wrote in his book, Soul on Ice. You can see that tweet. It's a summary of it. In the Jumbotron, he actually initially raped Black women in the ghetto for practice and then embarked on a serial rape of white women. He described these crimes as politically inspired, motivated by a genuine conviction that the rape of white women was an insurrectionary act. Anytime we have individuals, sexual deviants, literally goofballs, screwballs, my father used to call them slime balls, right? With this ideology raising up Eldridge Cleaver, who was an avowed rapist, literally raped Black women and white women, and we, that should have been a red flag, even on my part, right? I just knew that Eldridge Cleaver wasn't somebody, a hero, so to speak, and I was a Black Studies major at Temple University. Okay, so I never read Soul on Ice and went into all the details about this dude and how he was also allegedly gay for this day in prison or whatever, and then he came out and made these penis pants. Like, when I actually started doing my research on Eldridge Cleaver this week, I'm seeing that he premiered this product in like a fashion week in Paris, and like was legit out here making penis pants for men, but not only for men, for children. If you want to see the prototype of that, you can look at that in the Jumbotron as well. And this is the final thing I'll say, and I'll land my plan on this. Because look, when I saw the tweet, first of all, I didn't even know, Eve, who your husband was online. I know I met you all in person, but I didn't even follow him. I don't think I even follow him. I saw the initial tweet with the individual's mugshot in it and a bald head dude, and I was like, wow, like 10 people had seen me that after I was offline for a while. I come back online, I'm like, okay, so nobody's gonna question this. I know people saw it, but no one saw it. When I retweeted it, it got tens of thousands of views, right? And then I became attacked by that individual. So Jason Black has claimed also in the same broadcast where he put or tried to put our sister Eve on blast that I tried to get with him, I tried to get with Tariq, and I tried to get with Dr. Umar Johnson. All of those things are false. First of all, I've never even had any private interactions with Jason Black. The first interaction I had with this individual was on a Twitter space that Eve had co-hosted, and then after that, some national story or something was trending, and I called into his broadcast one time. So all of that is a lie. No contact information for this individual, no emails exchanged. I don't comment under his stuff. I don't even listen to him. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. And those of you all who know me in person, especially the brothers in this space, you know how I carry myself. You know what I'm about. My record speaks for itself. Okay, I actually do work in real life. I work with a variety of people. Judge Joe Brown, I've actually met you before in Atlanta at an event. I think we were having a conversation with Dr. Boyce Watkins and his fiance at the time, Dr. Alicia. I'm serious. I'm about my business. I'm not about no bullshit, right? But if you want to start it, I can get with it. So yeah, I'm just gonna land on that. I just wanted to speak my piece. You all do your research. In the meantime, we can stop these people from coming into our community by just actually looking at who they are and who they're raising up as icons. Thank you.
Thank you for that, how did you get them? Like, okay. All right, yeah. Why don't pay attention to too much shit? Yeah, but
excuse me, no, I'm sorry. Can I ask Judge a question?
Go ahead.
Do you have anything you can teach us about Eldridge Cleaver? I don't know if you know about these penis pants. I don't know if you know about his legacy. I'm sure you know about his legacy as a civil rights person, but I'm just learning about a lot of this deviant stuff that he was about. So could you school us a little bit about this individual, please?
Please, Judge. You were there. You were in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, I met him. Okay, several times. I was with the community liaison. I was a community liaison between BSU/Black Student Alliance and the Community Panther Party and everything else. We had a war going on with the US organization, and Nation of Islam was on our side in that. Eldridge Cleaver, they hyped him. He had a beautiful wife who was a very intelligent woman. She had a lot of education, and she sort of took charge of the situation.
You can't call through my I sent you a message. You can't cut across. I won't call you when I don't feel like it. What happened? No sound.
In San Francisco, there were a lot of clashes. They did some things we did not approve of that now, though they make the papers and they glitz and glam, and people keep showing them as though it was something that was done worthwhile. Actually, at the time, there was a great deal of contrary feeling about it, wherein it was, that ain't the right thing to do. That's going to defeat a lot of purposes. But that's another story entirely. The Los Angeles chapter group of the Panther Party was not the same as the Bay Area, where Eldridge was. He was up there in the San Francisco area. So I'll just make that raw comment. There's a lot that could be done to studying the phenomenon of the civil rights era as it morphed into the militant area. See, one thing that people need to understand today is that the FBI engineered King being killed. They recruited a two-man hit team from the Quantico Marine Sniper School, where the FBI at Quantico had a training academy. They supplied the weapons. It was 5 of them they got late December 1967. I have the serial numbers of all 5, the invoice, a copy of it, or various copies. I've secreted several around the areas. And late April, after the Justice Department ordered the FBI to return the 5 experimental weapons to the military, the FBI claims they lost one. I have the serial numbers for the other 4 that were returned. I know what the serial number is for the missing weapon. That's the murder weapon. And nobody's held them to account, and now the Black Caucus has turned them into being one of our friends. They're not, never have been, and they were set up originally before World War I to catch the first black world heavyweight boxing champion, Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson had a white wife, and they much resented him going around the country traveling with this white wife. So they came up with the Mann Act that most recently was used to prosecute R. Kelly. And I'm familiar with that because I represented a lot of pimps and hoes 40-some years ago in Memphis. So the FBI was run by J. Edgar Hoover. And the Smithsonian and the American History Channel, for what it's worth, seem to be running some rather accurate recitations of some newly opened up history. And it appears that the director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, was in fact a gay black man. And he had a profound hatred of black folk. And as a matter of fact, it is recorded that his family got run out of Louisiana by the Klan for passing for white. So he always was anti-racism in a way, but he hated black people because I guess they reminded him of something he didn't like. And if you ever see a youthful picture of him, he looks like a black man.
He looks like a light-skinned James Cleveland.
Yeah, and then the other thing is his first assignment to set up the Mann Act was to question and investigate the prostitutes in the New York brothels. His undercover thing was he passed himself off as a homosexual fancy boy in these brothels. So he got the trust of prostitutes and the madams. And Carlson, the deputy chief of the FBI was his gay lover. You might watch the movie, though they don't get into his blackness. It's called J. Edgar, that Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood did. They get into some interesting things in that. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on about black history. But King, had they not killed him and made a martyr out of him, would have been a footnote in history, like maybe Angela Davis or Kathleen Cleaver or H. Rap Brown. And by the way, if you want to know who got mentioned in the congressional record a lot more than Dr. King when it came to reasons for passing the Civil Rights Act Amendment 1967, the Voting Rights Act stuff in 68, some of the other stuff, it wasn't Martin Luther King, it was H. Rap Brown. See, Martin Luther King was representing the tail end of the civil rights movement that actually got strategized by Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall wound up on the U.S. Supreme Court, but he's the one that engineered what became Brown v. Board of Education, and his strategy was interesting. There were no civil rights laws other than the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, and a few things that dealt with night riders and stuff like that. So he took the ASPCA laws, and I listened to a lecture that he gave, I attended. And he said that the theory is funded by the Jews who funded the NAACP and funded by the NAACP. His strategy was to take those prevention of cruelty to animals statutes and work it this way. If you couldn't do it to a dog, you couldn't do it to a Negro, and the Jewish community would pay to keep him doing that, because if you couldn't do it to a Negro, you couldn't do it to a Jew. Now, Thurgood Marshall was known as Mr. Baseball. He had an interesting requirement when he traveled around the country taking these specially targeted cases. He wanted a Louisville slugger, so if he had to beat somebody across the head quietly, he could do it. And he always required that they get him a 12-gauge shotgun and at least a 25-round pack of double-aught buckshot. So he beat a few heads, but, you know, we don't talk about that thing where a U.S. Supreme Court justice could whip ass physically, and did so. See, some of these people that were in the movement back when weren't nice, and they weren't about getting down on knees, getting whipped. That's that whole black fraternity and sorority thing. Pledging used to be hard because you had 4 sororities, 4 fraternities, and they were supposed to be revolutionary cells where people divided up so you couldn't get everybody if you got anybody, and the pledging was hard, so if you got caught and tortured by Sheriff Bubba, you wouldn't tell on everybody. Now, that actually happened. 2 Alpha brothers, attorney A.W. Willis and attorney Russell Sugarman, got contacted after Emmett Till got killed, and a certain photographer named Withers, who turned out to be working with the FBI, went down there and he took 6 rolls of film, I think he told me. And I think that's what Willis and Sugarman told me. And each of them got 3. And they were supposed to split up and get out of Mississippi, take the film to Illinois, get it developed at Walgreens, and then show it to the Illinois governor and get Till the body back. Well, one of the sheriffs captured Willis, and he said he got tortured for several hours until he was able to escape. But he didn't tell on anybody because of what he went through pledging. Now, also, they never tell you this part of it, but 6 or 7 cars got shot up or burned up, and several people got wounded because the Klan and the Citizens Council didn't want that getting out of Mississippi. So you see, there are some unsung heroes in the civil rights movement And that nonviolent thing that you saw was a later addition. You've heard of the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails. Well, they had a 442nd composite group that had B-25 bombers and P-51s, and they were training outside Detroit. Well, they had a mutiny on base because of the treatment of the black officers. And all of the early civil rights icons who got involved in such stuff got involved in their defense right after World War II. And that morphed into some other stuff that went on. And that nonviolent stuff was a new addition to the thing. It wasn't all about getting people. We talk about Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was one of 123 urban areas or settlement areas in America that were attacked by white racists between 1918 and 1923. Now, people don't know this one, but you talk about Black Wall Street, you forgot the other 122, but you forgot the most important one. It took place over 5 days in Washington, D.C. That racist Woodrow Wilson had to call in literally the cavalry. And unlike every other one of these things, it was interesting. More white people than black got killed because what happens is they had a lot of discharged U.S. Army veterans who were black. They were on their way back to New York where they had the Harlem Hellfighters composed of Puerto Ricans and black folk out of Harlem. And when the mess started going down, the black Pullman car porters smuggled guns into D.C. from Baltimore, and the discharged black veterans who had been in the trenches over in France were on the roofs of the buildings that the Klan was trying to burn down, and they started sniping the Klansmen and killed a whole bunch of them. So when the black folk had killed enough white folk, that's when Wilson sent in the cavalry. So it was a standoff, and everybody got disarmed and stuff tamped down, and they don't talk about it because black folk weren't the victims. They won. But there were several other places that got jacked around. There's another one where a black man got falsely accused of rape down in Texas by a white woman, and they had a movie. I forget the name of it. Ben Reeves played one of the characters in that. It was an interesting movie. It's kind of historically correct. And see, there are other stories besides, oh, woe is us, we just kept getting our ass kicked, or when are they going to get off of us? Now, there is an interesting thing that is happening right now. They're trying to take all of the black civil rights icons and convert them to being gay. And they're trying to claim stuff. We've got Juneteenth. Have you noticed the symbol for Juneteenth now? It's a rainbow fist. See, a lot of this stuff is getting co-opted, and we find ourselves as being the guinea pigs, the experimental process, the trial run for a lot of stuff that's spread through the country. And since it does have impact and results, we just need to start learning how to manage it. And maybe one of the things we need to do, back to the first discussion that I was listening to, where all of our heroes or multimillionaire athletes, we need to start reversing that and getting some real live heroes who put it on the line and risk life and limb. Because we have some, but there is a big thing going on right now to obscure them for
Judge,
purposes of glorifying individuals who were cooperative.
Judge.
Now, I passed the mic. Yes, sir.
I want to do two things. First and foremost, I did pioneering research on the so-called DC race riot, and for every black person that got killed, about 4 white people or more got killed in DC. And to this day, if you go to the National Archives, they've made the paperwork disappear to hide the fact that the black folks whipped the white people. In fact, the Foundation for American Urban Warfare is based on what blacks did fighting whites in Washington, D.C. It's the Foundation for America's urban warfare training. Believe it or not, they got beat so badly by the folks here.
I'm aware of that.
You're aware. Most
I'm
people
aware of
don't know. No. The other thing I was going to.
You know where you can find it? You know where you can find it?
Oh, I know where some of it is.
No. I can tell you where another source where it's
Okay.
not been touched. It's in the discussion on the American highway system.
Okay.
It's called the National Defense Highway System. Not only does the highway meander across the United States to set up strategic connections between geographical points that were perceived one time as being necessary to the ground defense of the country in the event of evasion. Eisenhower set it up. There is also a discussion in there about how you set up what he called expressways, which are now freeways, in the inner city so that you could control access from one part of the city to another based on a study of what happened in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
At the time that went down, Eisenhower was a major, and he was supposed to be setting off on a transcontinental trip from D.C., which wound up at the pier in Santa Monica, California, to survey the country, which he ran that route several times to do so. Now, there is a discussion on use of the roadways that he wound up getting set up, and today all of them match his plans. He designed it in the 1930s to prevent what happened in Washington, D.C. But yeah, see, black folk aren't always victims.
No.
But they try to make it look like we are, and they make the civil rights thing bigger than it was.
Much bigger.
Black folk looked at that and said, wait a minute, I just got back from Korea. Wait a minute. I was in Germany. I was at Bastogne. God damn, hell no.
And Judge,
761st Tank Regiment, you better lose your damn mind. I ain't doing that. Beat on me.
Part of why the people in D.C. were organized was because a white predator from Holland claimed to have raped 5,000 black women and children, and they didn't want to do anything about it. And Nannie Helen Burroughs and Samuel Chase, it's one of the biggest scandals. It's very hard to get paperwork around it. But I want to speak of heroes. Not only is there Sister Jade and Sister Eve, but we have the Washington, D.C. zone, Sister Sean, who I'm certain would like to contribute, and she's a leader in her own right.
We're gonna have to bring it back because we want to bring it back to the topic of the room.
Not a problem. I'm done.
I want to get because Linus that was her question that we were on. I want her to finish her question, then I want to get to Sonny because he's had his hand up for a long time.
Yes, thank you for that. And thank you, Judge and Dr. Short, for that historical analysis. My question remains, how can someone who is an avowed rapist become an icon in Black society? And when we see these sorts of red flags and we look at people that we follow, we need to look at the people that they follow and do that research. And before I drop down, I do want to also shout out my brother JoJo and my other brother, Conscious Outlaw, for holding me down as well. Thank you so much, Judge Joe Brown, for your demonstration of manhood. Thank you to all the men in the space. Peace to you, Sister Eve. Be blessed.
Well, thank you.
Okay, it was did you have a follow-up with that, Judge?
No, that was right.
Madam Clerk, please call the next calendar. Please call the next case.
I'm going to start dropping people down after you speak. If you want to come back up, you are welcome to. But I think that maybe you could use the comment section. I've been responding to some of the things that y'all have been saying because I don't know if you just joined the space late or if you just like hearing things repeated over and over again or what. But I have been trying to continue the transparency that I wanted to bring to you tonight. Also, I'm not trying to be here all night, so to Dwan's point about the speakers, if y'all could keep your comments brief, and then we'll try to continue to dialogue and come up with solutions. Sonny, your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, peace to the room, peace to all the family in the space. I'm gonna keep this shit real short and sweet. Yeah, we banned called Jason Black out. This ain't nothing new. Everybody in this space is privy to it. The whole shit was weird. Listen, none of the ancestors was invisible. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole like hiding behind the curtain thing, like you don't know somebody for 10, 15, 20 years, they able to point you in the directions here and there. That whole shit weird. I don't know how this shit been happening in the conscious or the Black empowerment movement like this long, bro. Y'all don't find this shit weird? Y'all can't point these niggas out in the grocery store.
Wait. You're talking about his refusal to make personal appearances.
Yeah. None of the ancestors was invisible, bro. So that's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like Medgar Evers wasn't invisible. Dr. Martin Luther King on his day he wasn't invisible. Like this whole invisible, this whole Wizard of Oz shit, that whole shit weird, bro. You know what I'm saying? And everybody already know that we've been down. Man, this shit been cooked, and the red flags been there. The red flags was there. We just got to pay attention to the red flags and not depending on who we like. You know what I'm saying? This nigga been weird, bro. This nigga came in the game with Tommy Sotomayor.
Sonny, let me address a point that you just made. Red flags have been there, like Jade was saying. I agree, but I think that what people were on, or at least I can speak for myself, what I was on is what's being done and what's being said. And I know that that's a lot of people. Like, I don't know why people gravitate to certain people except for the fact that they're saying the right things and there aren't enough people doing anything. And you can get really polarized by a person speaking like that. And Sonny, I know that you understand frequencies and vibrations and shit. So to be a person who was very close to that, I don't understand some of the confusion with regards to why it took so long, quote unquote, to come to where we are right now. Because, like you said, people have been calling it out, but none of y'all have seen him. And look, I know people who've seen him. So I'm not the only person who could have said something. And clearly that's missing from the whole conversation because there's a bunch of people who've seen him. But nobody was willing to say what I said, which is, that's the same dude. The dude that I met in Dallas is the same dude that beat somebody up. And I don't know why it took me to say it, but here we are. And I guess really, I didn't even really say it. I didn't do any of this shit. Jeremy went off when he saw a tweet that Jade had reposted asking a question. And the code that everybody, quote unquote, said that they had been following, Mr. Fuller's code of conduct said that you're supposed to ask questions. And she asked a question and shit hit the fan. Now, here we are. So, divine timing. I don't know what the math is on that.
Nah, to that point, like, so I gotta give both sides. Like, I get what Sonny is saying because everybody has their own personality type, and you have to, you have to be down with whatever your personality type is. I like my personality type. I don't give a fuck about nobody. Like, like the only hero I have is my dad, and my mom. So outside of my dad and my mom, I really don't give a shit about nobody. And like my wife and my immediate family. If somebody has a good message, I don't care how they look. I don't care. But at the same time, I don't follow what anybody has to say. If you have a program where this is the topic and I need some good information, I'm gonna listen to it. And the next program, you're talking about who needs to be with who, and I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm on to the next. But the signs are out there for people who are looking. If your point of view on who you're listening to is guidance and leadership, and I'm on Sonny's side. You gotta have more discernment and ask certain questions, like what he was saying. So I get that. If everybody's in different positions, if the position you're in is someone that's kind of a compass, then you probably should ask questions and trust your spirit. Whatever comes back with that. But then at the same time, there are other people who just, I want to hear what you got to say. Then when I'm done listening to you, I'm on to the next. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Fish. Your point.
Nah, I get that, Dwan. But I'm saying that we've been infiltrated. We don't listen. We don't know if somebody white on the other end. We don't know who is talking on the other end of that microphone. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, it's this 2023, bro. Like I could see if you could get away with that shit in 2003, 2002. The internet it wasn't up to par. But yeah, bro, like you got to be vetted. We need to know. We delineating, we lineage checking, we doing all that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just been too many red flags, man. Like I said, he came in the game with Tommy Sotomayor. They used to have a podcast like they was buddy.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? And then Jason Black, he gonna come on Twitter Spaces for like 3, 4, 5 days trying to run secure the tribe down. He ain't have none of that smoke for Zoe Williams. When Zoe Williams said he was gonna break his jaw, it's been this shit crazy, bro. It's been so many red flags with this shit. The way he talked to Sister LaShawn, calling her an alley cat. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit crazy, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. This shit worse than church. The grassroots shit worse than church, bro. Like this shit is a cult.
It's funny you say church, Sonny, because everything comes back to church. Like the way I kind of mentioned that other show. This is organizations around those same rules as a church, the cult of personality. It's funny how no matter how much you run from the church, shit comes back to the church. See, that's why I'm always saying just get the information and live your life. But Judge, I see you want to speak.
I'm about to land right here, Dwan. You know,
I don't want to, Mike. I'm listening.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, like we got to start. It can't be where we can only protect people who we like, man. You know what I'm saying? Whenever we see some bullshit, especially when it comes to women and kids, we got to call that shit out immediately. Whenever you hear people with big platforms saying that, I don't so space, you cut this out. That's a cult, bro. That don't sound like a cult to y'all?
Hey, that's a good point because, bruh, like it's 24 hours in a day. You gotta decide how you gonna live that. And I honestly, I don't know if I want people around me that be my guidance on every little thing. I got some things I'm good at that I'm good at talking about, like it and listen to it. Cause I had some issues, Sonny, with people that used to be from, I guess, security tribe recently, just in the last week. Them talking about they keeping an eye on me because I said that, you know, black men, we've been culturally weak at defending the culture. And I tell them in a not so polite way, man, fuck off. Because I'm telling you, I ain't trying to be nobody's goddamn leader. I got a point of view. And sometimes my point of view will rub people who fuck with me the wrong way. We as a people, as a populace, got to get to the point to where we can listen to, we can. I hate the term agree or disagree. It's just I've got to listen to you on that makes sense. That thing over there don't make sense. But you know, we can go about our own way without saying you can't. That whole you can't listen to me, I can't listen to you. We got to divide amongst ourselves because I'm ideologically different than somebody else. That means I don't trust the people following me. So that means if I don't trust the people around me, that ultimately means I don't trust myself. But me personally, I trust myself. So that means I trust everybody listening to me to trust their motherfucking self. And that's how we gotta goddamn be. And we gotta check going back to the word accountability that I'm kicked to the next person, going back to the word accountability, people are always coming in these spaces going around saying this person, you gotta be accountable to that. You gotta be when the fuck do people say I gotta be accountable to myself? Like we have to be accountable to ourselves. And no matter who we listen to, no matter who we like, we still have to maintain autonomy of thought and a connection to what our greatest end is. And because you can't take care of no movement, you can't take care of no group if your selfish needs aren't taken care of first. So you must understand that. And you can't be going around looking for people to be your goddamn leader. But unfortunately, a lot of people are. So since that's where we are, you got to do what Eve is saying. You got to ask these questions because you got to do what Sonny is saying. And that's about, ask the question. I get it, but you'll never go wrong asking questions. Because I'll tell you something about me. I tell people all the time, listen to me. Even though I say don't look to me for leadership because I might be on a mushroom trip, you can vouch for me in real life. Everything that I talk about musically, you can see my work in schools. I've done music shows, live music shows. I do stand-up comedy shows. I make niggas laugh in person. Like, it's easy for me. Like, you come to my YouTube channel, you'll see friends of mine from elementary school. I have moderators that know me in real life. When I did my show with Tashina Arnold, he flew away from goddamn Virginia to come to the show. You know what I mean? Everything that I say, I can vouch for. Even I'm the first one to tell me, don't listen, look at me for leadership. I will tell you this. You go look into my paperwork, you can find a human being that's going to vouch for me and tell me you're going to see I am who the fuck I say I am. So if people want to go around having all these divisions and shit, you don't like me, you think I said something wrong that makes you feel a certain way, I'm going to tell you from the bottom of my heart, that's how I feel. I respect your differences. But if you come telling me you watching me and I need to do this, I'm going to say, fuck you. Because, yeah, that's how I feel. I'm not trying to be watched, but if you're going to watch me, I'm going to give you something to watch. And it's going to be something unpleasant because I'm an asshole, too. That shit is fun talking shit. I like doing that. I used to do this shit at the lunch tables when I was in the 7th grade. But that was a monologue. Eve, reset. I know, Dr. Short, you want to say, I know we have speakers up here. You spoke. Eve, go ahead and reset it. And I think life is or I'm not sure which one's first.
No, that's real. Yeah, we've been here for a minute. To the room, to the listeners, accountability moments are necessary. I don't know if they're supposed to be so public, but since we are here, this is the environment that, this is where we are. I've answered a bunch of uncomfortable questions as a result of trying to continue the transparency I've always brought to what we've been doing. To the people who are trolling the room, if that's how you feel, look, I'm still not telling y'all how to feel. All I'm saying is that the person that I thought Jason was, he's not, down to the damn name. His name is Jeremy. So, like, if that is so wrong to say that that person is that person, then I guess I'm going to have to be wrong. But inside of all of that, did that warrant my damn pictures to be posted? Like that, I just feel like that shit was on some revenge type.
That
people
are
saying
down through for me right there. It's whatever, everything else is whatever. I don't want to be a part of none of this shit. But that's where the line gets drawn. Your business is your business, and I don't want to be a part of your business like that. I'm mad that I'm even knowing about this shit. But go ahead. That's your business.
And to Sonny's point about faceless individuals, this has been a trick, right? The ops tell us that we can move in silence, but I think that that's a trick. I think Sonny's onto something, and sometimes it takes me a minute to see something. But when I see it, I try to let y'all know that I see it. And what I see is when we aren't speaking the names of our ancestors, we forget them. We don't know their story, and it never gets passed down. I think in the same aspect, the trauma that's passed down in our families is because some of the stuff is not talked about. So whatever and however you feel, I hope that this space has offered some sort of solutions of sorts with regards to how we can continue to be on code and on message and deal with life's mess, because at the end of the day, I'm a female and I'm not out here trying to have no male fight. And when my dude step to another dude like a dude, or at least as much as you can do online, because let's just face it, like y'all have said a bunch of times, some of this behavior is not something that would be acceptable in real life. Like, people actually get touched for some things that we've talked about tonight. So I think that if you have to meet somebody online and try to address something, I don't know if my dude did anything wrong either. And then when it came down to how Jason Jeremy Blacksmith could have responded, he attacked me. Like, that shit is bitch made. So I guess that's how I feel. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing, and then I'm gonna get to Life's a Beach. In his program, he said that because I'm just a groupie or whatever, I can't say things like cut the check and things like that. And I say, fuck you, because they gonna cut the check for me too, bitch. Like, I don't understand these people who want to keep their finger on our progress by doing little messy shit like this, and then now we having 3-hour spaces about my personal life. Like, What the fuck type of black empowerment is that? Is it black empowerment or is it some op shit? And if it's some op shit, I think that y'all should expose it. And for what it's worth, like, this is where we are. So, life's the beach. You got your hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Eve. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Peace to the room. I'm going to make it short. What attracted me to you was, I admire you for your attention to your children. You will always hold that space, about being a parent and being a mother to your children. So I admire you for that. What I wanted to ask was, what type of advice as a woman to a woman, what type of advice would you give? Because we've all been in situations where we're like, whew, thank God I got out of that, or, we've been to places, we've been to situations where we're like, if I could tell my younger self something, I would tell them this. So I pose that question to you. What would you tell your younger self getting into this movement and, just trying to navigate? What did you learn, basically? That's my question.
God damn, that's a hell of a question. But damn it if I'm not ready to answer it in a big way. Coming into this movement, like earlier, there was a space where my man came into the space and he kind of talked about, what happened, or at least as much as he could talk about it earlier. And what happened is when I wanted more, I wanted to do more, my man said, okay, I'm going to bring you home and you can do more. And that was the end of the beginning, I guess, because I think that Black women, we have these delusions of grandeur where we can take on so much because they tell us we're strong, you strong Black woman. This shit is real slave-like, right? But I feel like it's an internal voice for some of us. Maybe not for you, but at least for me, I feel pretty unstoppable sometimes. And I think that with certain batteries that get put in people's backs, then, you can kind of go all out in the worst way. So I guess my advice would be that if you have a man in your life that's doing the work with you, you really have to lean on them and listen to them, because there's a reason you picked them anyway. And if you don't want to do that with them, then I guess try it on your own. But I think that together, I think that's a move. I think that when I look at every time white supremacy is trying to keep us down, back even when you go all the way to the slave fields, it's the separation of the family. And when I chose my family, I got chastised for it. The shit is wild to me, and I'm hurt by it, but it's not gonna stop anything. So I hope I answered your question, and I appreciate you being here tonight.
All right, thank you. Yes, yeah. I'll go ahead and say, just for myself, I pulled away from it. This is just my personal. I pulled away from the content because I wasn't feeling the whole message about women. You over 35, you're useless. You may not have worded it like that, but it was. I just pulled.
No, you absolutely worded it like that. Look, it's life's a beach. Let me be honest with you. There's some real self-hate going on, and again, it might not be you, but I know a lot of us are hurting, and there's some real fucked up people out here who will use that on some nefarious shit. Like, I can't act like that's not real, but so when people are looking for something that makes sense, and then you've got people out here using people who are looking for people, that makes sense to me, So having people like Dewan, who I feel like the math has to be that people are who they say they are. And then if you can't verify some things, then maybe that is enough for you to move on from that person. But I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm telling you what I have to do, because that makes the most sense. And then from there, hopefully we get to the fucking goal, reparations. Like, that is the only reason that I've ever been speaking publicly at all, is for us. So, but go ahead if you still had a thought.
No, that was it. And to that the information. I think that was Sonny was saying, yeah, we've been calling him out. I myself didn't know what to do with that information. I'm like, well, he's just hiding his face to protect his privacy, yada yada yada. And then, on my own, I just blew it away because I was like, I don't like over 35, you're useless, whatever. But, he has some good stuff politically, but my own decision. So that's why I was asking you, when did you say, whoa, I think I've gotten in too deep, or I made a mistake? That's why I was posing that question to you. I'm going to step down. Thanks.
Yeah, the mistake was made straight up and down when I didn't actually listen to what he says. If I were a caller, he would have told me to ask for everything that I'm talking about in writing, like ODB was talking about. Some of the shit we know, but then we gloss over it because of other things. And I accept that was wrong to do, but here we are. What are we going to do now? And I think that we've come up with a few different solutions, at least with regards to people vetting people, and then do what you're going to do with the information. Like, I don't know how else to drive us back to where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Were you trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying that's the big thing. Maybe we have evolved to the point to where we have to vet more because, especially again, if you're looking for a particular message. But then at the same time, if the message is just strictly on information and disseminating information, then that's fine. But when it gets into the personal, how one should live their life, if someone's talking to you about how you should live your life, that's when you cross the threshold of, okay, I ain't really tripping on who you are. This is just me speaking the solutions moving forward. Just thoughts that I had in my mind over the weekend, like when I first heard of this nonsense. If it's just information, in case someone's reporting the news, and it's just saying, hey, here's the news, and here's where you go and source the news, then I don't really give a damn who you are. But because I didn't care who my teachers were when I learned math, my math teacher could have been the biggest degenerate on earth, but I still learned and understood the Pythagorean theorem, regardless of who they were. But at the same time, if I'm looking for some sort of guidance on whether relationships or how to live my life, then I'm probably gonna want to know a little bit more about how you live yours. And so I don't, again, you make your own decisions, but I think that's a fairly safe question to ask if someone is telling you, okay, you should do this, and I'm telling you because I'm the reason we should do it. An honest question is, okay, how has that worked in your life? Even if the answer is it hasn't worked, but at least you understand where you understand where you stand. But to the speakers, we're gonna really start to slow the room down because like Eve said, she doesn't want to be here all night. So we're gonna get to the speakers who are here. If you can keep your comment to a minute or less now, because we really are trying to slow the room down so we can end it. And I want to give the Judge and Dr. Short both as much time as they can to when it's time for them to give their closing remarks. So for the speakers that we have, if you can just keep your comments to a minute or less, so we can get to our guests. That again, we didn't create this room to talk about this topic. This was something that we had in the pipeline for over a week, but it turned into this. But I do want them to get back and say what they have to say, Dr. Short and Judge. So for the speakers, keep your comment to 1 minute or less. I think Sister Sean was next.
Peace, power, reparations. Yeah, I see the backstory on the other stuff. I'm not going to get into that. I really wanted to do a direct question and thoughts to Judge Joe Brown. I want his thoughts on what is going on with these open borders. That is a direct question to him, just to see what his intellectual thoughts on that. But I wanted to kind of rally back on a couple of other things, and that he talked about the red tails, and I want to do a kind of a follow up on that. In Washington D.C., there's an active.
Real quick, this is Sean. I kind of want to keep that a separate topic. We want to stick to the topic of can you keep it to what we're talking about here because we want to go ahead and close the room out. You can go ahead. Just make sure you just keep it on whatever on the topic. But you have a minute. Go ahead. Okay, she's not gonna go. I think we have Professor or
no. I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I asked about the open borders, and I wanted to know.
Sean, that's what Dewan was trying to tell you. Sean, no offense to your question, because I do think that open borders are a problem, but that's not what we're talking about tonight.
If I can apply that open borders to what we're talking about, let her ask that question.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I don't think it's off the topic. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna let you go because I see I don't know what's going on here.
Okay.
Let
me bring it back to the topic. We have gotten in a situation where we aren't used to reading between the lines, and we're talking about Jason Black and his secret identity and what's really going on behind the scenes. And Sister Steve, you and I had a conversation with this off the record about it. How long did we talk? A couple hours on that? And I think you touched on it pretty much what your problem is, but we got a similar one here. Take everything you have heard about what's going on with the open borders, and I bet you have not yet heard the obvious. You know what it is? It's very simple. Article 1 of the Constitution says every 10 years there shall be a census conducted. The purpose of the census is to apportion representation in the House of Representatives. And what's going on is they're trying to get as many people across those borders illegally to go to places like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, and other places where the current blue forces in politics are in danger of losing congressional representatives. So these people can be counted in the census. In California, New York, and Illinois can pick up extra congressmen who will be able to represent the Democratic Party's positions because they will be representing people that can't even vote for them. So they're trying to stuff their state roles so they get more representation. That's like what you're talking about with the brother right here. He's trying to put up an impression with one thing, and there may be something else going on behind the scenes. It's just par for the course. It's what's done. By the way, I've been in 6 censuses as an adult where I filled them out. And this is the first time, 2020, when they did not ask was I a citizen or were my parents citizens, and if they were, how did they get to be citizens? Why? Because they wanted the numbers increased, and it was a bureaucratic situation, so they could get an increase in the number of congressmen out of California, New York, Illinois, etc., or not lose some. And that's also why they want DC statehood, so they can spread what they're trying to do that is basically staunchly behind emasculating the country, which is one of the topics we've been talking about. DC has about 300,000 people. It is a moderate-sized city, but it is heavily rainbow, and they want the rainbow to get 2 U.S. senators, which will tip the balance.
It's heavily rainbow. You're absolutely right.
And 2 U.S. congressmen, which is the same as the state of Maine, and they want that for a city of 300,000. Why? because they want to pick up representation for the rainbow. And the other thing is, if you want to give the citizens voting members of Congress to represent them, all you have to do is give the district back to Maryland, keep the Capitol Mall as the diminished district, and the people can vote in Maryland for congressmen who can vote for them in the House of Representatives and in the U.S. Senate. See, it's a trick. We aren't supposed to think. We aren't supposed to read between the lines. Now, that's the only reason I wanted to answer that, because it's another example of when you get people who hide and will not appear in public, when you have names and aliases that they use, what's going on behind the scenes? I just got a nasty text on somebody called me an old goddamn fool, literally, because I didn't know what the hell I was talking about because J. Edgar Hoover wasn't black. I just posted his picture when he was in the 20s. And if he doesn't look like half the pretty boy Negroes that are running around trying to profile, you tell me. You can go to my site right now and take a look. That's just an example.
And thank you so much, Judge. Thank you for that. And Eve, and I hate to put everybody off topics, but I think that's very important because there's some other underground stuff going. But I think the upper ground is this immigration, and I think that it is going to impact us as a people, B1, freedmen, whatever you call yourself. And I really appreciate your take on this. And, you know, we've got this all these anti-reparations bill. We're calling it the genocide bill, the HR 4321, where there's a federal document that's been introduced in the House to say that if you, at the local and state level, if you try to give any reparations to the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, that you will not get federal funding.
Yeah, we did a space on that last week.
Yeah, So I'm gonna go down. I don't want to, but thank you.
I appreciate you.
And so we got that. We got that coming against us, and we got the influx of immigration. So thank you for answering that question. I know there's some other questions and YouTubers fighting against one another, but what I would say is just stop the fighting. We don't have time for it.
Yeah, we're not. I want to make it very clear. We ain't. This is that they saying that we're not fighting. No, this isn't a fight here. Someone was aggrieved. We're addressing the person that's aggrieved. We must never mistake an aggrieved party addressing their grievances for a fight. I don't think I can't speak for you, but me personally, I'm not fighting. It's just something that happened. We were already going to have a space about a particular topic. It's just being addressed. So for people out there listening, there is no fight. You walk away from this with whatever. Hopefully, you can think for yourselves. You put two and two together, and whatever you walk away with is whatever you walk away with. I'm not here to fight nobody.
And let's just put this out there as far as the aggrieved party situation. Look, there are two sides to every story, and that nigga blocked me from the fucking program and then leaked my fucking news. So, how was I supposed to respond to that in real time? However, I don't have a huge platform or anything, but for what I am willing to say publicly, and I'm sure that things could get a lot more messy, but I'd like things to get back on track. Like Dwan was saying, we were already going to talk about the color purple and its effect on manhood, and it just so happens that everything is coming out the wash now, and I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to ride that because I think that if we're all doing what we say that we're doing, then at the end of the day, we're going to get what's owed to us. I can't come away from that, so I hope that y'all also can't come away from that. Judge, you had something?
No.
Okay, right, I'm sorry. Yeah, your mic is.
Yeah, go right in. I'll put my...
Who's next?
I think it's Professor.
Hey, good afternoon, y'all. Or good evening. I'm in Memphis, so good evening. But yeah, I'm gonna be real quick. I wanted to address with respect to the this is Alon. With respect to the the topic is critical that we identify and verify within our circle. I'm a scholar, I'm a professor, educator, whatever you want to call it. And I teach at a historically black college. And for the last couple of years, we've had, I'm not going to identify the school, but we've had professors who, like Vicki Dillard said, black-looking folk come into, the school. And I've seen them fail our children, you know what I'm saying? Like, get a kick out of failing black kids at a black school. So we need to, I think y'all are really touching on something very, very powerful. Like, we need to start finding out who's who now, especially since reparations is in the lexicon. And it's, I don't know if y'all been noticing this, but like I'm getting excited. Like, it's not going away. And the word reparations is being taken seriously in several circles. We need to tighten our circle and figure out who's who. Because if you, like Professor James Small says, history erases the mystery. And if you look back at history, when foundational black American freedmen had got the ball rolling, like the judge said, our movements have been co-opted and turned into something else. I love that you said that, Judge. Last thing I'm going to say, and I'm gone. Judge brought up earlier, maybe about 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, he was talking about how the civil rights movement was kind of diverted and made to look like we were weak and subservient. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and that's just not the truth, I just want to say, in the books, in the school books, in the history books, that narrative of we're weak and we got what we got because the dominant society felt sorry for us and felt bad about their mistakes is such a lie, and it's absolutely damaging foundational black American children. Like, because they're reading this story and saying, who am I in the history book? And they're saying, oh, well, I guess I'm a subservient person who has to beg for, rights that should be afforded me. What's going on, Judge? What up, Frat? This is a line. That's all I had. I'm gonna let my plane there.
Thank you for that. Beav, you have something you want to say to that?
No, thank you for that. I think that you're exactly right. There are people really out here who get a kick out of watching us squirm, and sometimes they look like us. I'm very much thinking that it's got to be actions over color. I don't know, because, ain't nobody really black, but that black first, look, I'm so over cult-like shit, and yes, it had to be a personal experience for me to have this understanding, but how many of y'all had to have a personal experience before you had a realization of some shit? And then, if we really go in there, it's a lot worse shit out there. Like, my voice with regards to what I've said for what we need to have done and what we need for us, I've been consistent. So for this man to tell people not to rock with me because I don't rock with him anymore and trying to act like it's just some emotional shit, no, it's way deeper than that. I wasn't really trying to go into that. At the end of the day, my pictures shouldn't have been posted. I think that he knew that, and that's why he tried to cover his tracks. And then there's niggas in the room right now, so many anonymous listeners, like, say it with your chest. Like, how is it that so many people can be so big and bad on this app and then missing in action? Katie kept telling me stop posting about the reparations rally because these niggas ain't coming. But I'm all like, there's B1 people in my area. They're going to come. I just got to post it. And she's like, they're not coming. And I'm like, but if you don't post it, then they're not going to come. So we've been having this whole back and forth. And damn it, if every single fucking meeting, it's me, Katie, my man, and bear arms at these meetings. And I'm posting it. And there's supposed to be B1 people all around me, and nobody's there. So I have to look at what I see and then go from there. I hope that y'all look at what you see and then go from there. Willie, I see you've been up here for a minute. You have something to say?
Yeah, peace, everybody. Can I be heard?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, peace. Good evening. You just mentioned something very important.
I can't hear him. Hey, I can't hear Willie, and I really want to hear what this nigga gotta say.
Y'all want me to drop down, come back?
Hey, so you can't kick him down, bring him right back up, because I really want to hear what he gotta say.
Yep.
Yeah, drop me down.
I am the light. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I didn't know. I was just listening. I didn't know how I became a speaker. But I mean, since I am speaking, hello to everyone in the room. I'm trying to figure out, because I'm just new to the conversation on the Jason Black thing. So I know I've heard before, and can someone clarify to me, is he and Professor Black Truth, are they the same? Because I've heard that before, but I don't know, and I'm just like baffled to what I'm hearing about him. I mean, I really don't listen to him. I mostly listen to Professor Black Truth because he's like really short. I don't have time to listen to Jason Black. But yeah, this is just all new to me.
The same
Just real quick.
Let E go ahead.
Just real quick. Listen to what you just said. You don't listen to Jason because of how long-winded he is, and you do listen to Professor Black Truth because of how concise he is. And if you think that's the same person, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute you because of some feedback. But if you think that that's the same person, then that's kind of phenomenal type of bipolarism that we are experiencing in real time. I'm gonna mute you because.
No, I don't think. I've heard it. I've heard someone say it before. I don't really think it. I was just asking for clarity. Like, I don't even know. I'm just new to hearing all of this. But I've heard before in spaces that people have said that they were the same person. So I was just trying to, figure that out.
I don't think they are, but Eve, answer it, and then let's get to Woody Dynamite. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's very strange because I don't even see her as a speaker anymore. No, I don't think that they're the same person, but what I'm urging people to do is to stop listening to what people are saying about other people and use what you've learned. And from what I've learned about Professor Black Truth, he's never told anybody how to live their life as much as he's told us what's going on with people who look like us and people who've experienced our story. From there, do what you're going to do with the information. But I will say that the biggest other difference that I've seen always sources. It's never been about me. And if you think that that's the same person, then you think that that's the same person. I don't think that that's the same person.
I don't think it. No, I don't think it's the same person. I didn't think it was the same person. I just heard people saying that, and I was just asking, like, because I don't really know what's going on. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out, I didn't.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Okay.
I don't know if that's answered your question.
Let's move on. We got it.